Hello and welcome to TaleTalk English. Today's story is emotional, mysterious, and full of family secrets, hidden truths, and heartbreaking discoveries. It will also help you improve your English listening and vocabulary through simple conversations and real-life emotions. As you listen, try to imagine every scene, every expression, and every feeling. This is the story of a young woman who discovered that the mother she trusted had hidden her true identity for 23 years. My name is Sarah Reynolds, and I am 23 years old. I work as a receptionist at a small dental clinic in my town. My life has always been quiet and simple. I lived with my mother in a small, old house at the end of a peaceful street. The house was not beautiful, but it felt warm. It smelled like tea, soap, and sometimes cinnamon when my mother baked on Sundays. My mother, Barbara Reynolds, was kind and caring. She always made sure I ate well, wore warm clothes, and came home safely. If it rained, she called me and reminded me to take an umbrella. If I looked tired, she made soup. If I had a bad day at work, she listened to me complain while she washed the dishes. People in our neighborhood loved her. They often said, "Barbara has such a gentle heart," and she did. But there was something else about my mother. She had secrets. Even when I was a little girl, I could feel it. Sometimes when I asked about the past, she became quiet. If I asked about my father, her face changed for a few seconds. It became cold and serious. Then she would smile again and say, "You don't need to worry about the past." When I was 9 years old, I finally asked her directly, "Mom, where is my dad?" She stopped washing the dishes. For several seconds, she only looked at the water running from the tap. Then she said, "He's not with us." "Did he leave?" I asked. She took a deep breath. "Some people are not meant to stay." That was all. No photo, no name, no story, nothing. As I grew older, I stopped asking. Not because I stopped caring, but because I understood that my mother did not want to talk about him. There was also something else that always made me curious. A locked drawer. It was inside an old wooden dresser in my mother's bedroom. She kept it locked all the time. The small silver key was always around her neck, even at home, even when she slept. When I was 16, I once joked about it. "Mom, what are you hiding in there? Gold?" She smiled, but her smile looked forced. "Just old papers." "Then why do you lock them?" I asked. She looked at me for a long moment. Then she quietly said, "Because some old things should stay hidden." At the time, I laughed, but I never forgot those words. Years passed. My life stayed mostly the same. I worked Monday through Friday at the clinic. I answered phone calls, welcomed patients, and helped the dentist with simple office work. My mother worked part-time at a flower shop. In the evenings, we usually ate dinner together. Sometimes we watched television. Sometimes we talked about small things. From the outside, we looked like a normal mother and daughter. But sometimes I caught my mother watching me, not with happiness, with sadness. It was as if she was afraid of losing me. Then, 2 weeks before everything changed, something strange happened. The clinic closed early because some repairs were being done. I came home several hours earlier than usual. When I opened the front door, I heard my mother talking on the phone in the kitchen. Her voice was low and tense. "No," she said sharply, "you cannot call this house again." I stopped in the hallway. I had never heard her speak like that. Then she said something that made my heart beat faster. "She doesn't know anything." I froze. A man's voice came through the phone, but I could not understand his words. My mother became even more nervous. I said, "It's over. Leave us alone." Then the floor made a small sound under my foot. Silence. A second later, the call ended. I stepped into the kitchen. My mother turned around too quickly. "You're home early?" "Yeah," I said slowly. "Who was that?" She picked up a towel and began cleaning the kitchen counter. The counter was already clean. "Wrong number," she said. I stared at her. "You were arguing with a wrong number?" She stopped moving. Then she said, "Some people don't know when to stop." That night I could not sleep. I kept hearing one sentence in my head. She doesn't know anything. What didn't I know? After that day, my mother changed. She checked the doors twice every night. She looked through the windows more often. She asked me too many questions. "Who did you have lunch with? What time will you be home? Did anyone ask about me?" At first, I thought she was simply stressed, but after a few days, I began to feel nervous too. One morning, while we were having breakfast, I finally asked her, "Mom, is someone bothering you?" "No," she replied. "Then why are you acting like this?" I asked. "I'm not acting like anything," she replied. "Yes, you are," I said. She looked at me. "You've been nervous all week." For a moment, I saw fear in her eyes, real fear. Then she looked down at her tea. "Sarah," she said softly, "not every question needs an answer." That hurt. I pushed my plate away. "That isn't fair." Her face softened. She reached for my hand. "I only want to protect you." I stared at her. "Protect me from what?" She said nothing. That Saturday, my mother left early to help at a church food donation event. Before leaving, she stood at the door. "If you clean the house today, don't tire yourself too much." I smiled. "I'll survive the dust, Mom." But she did not smile back. Instead, she said something strange. "Sometimes old things bring pain." Then she left. The house became very quiet. I decided to clean anyway. I started with the living room, then the hallway, then the old bookcase near the dining table. It was full of dusty novels, recipe books, and old magazines. As I pulled some books from the shelf, an old cookbook slipped from my hands. It fell onto the floor. Something thin slid out from between the pages. I bent down. It was an envelope, old and yellow. My mother's name was written on the front, Barbara. My heart started beating faster. The envelope had already been opened. I knew I should put it back. I knew it was private, but something inside me told me not to. Slowly, I pulled out the letter. My hands were shaking before I even read the first sentence. It said, "Barbara, if Sarah ever finds out the truth, it should come from you." I stopped breathing. I read the next line. "She deserves to know where she came from." My fingers tightened around the paper. Then I read, "You cannot hide her from them forever." I kept reading. "One day she will ask why her name was changed." My name? Changed? I stared at those words. My chest felt tight. The room suddenly seemed too small. Then I heard a car door outside. My mother was home. I quickly folded the letter and pushed it inside my sweater. The front door opened. "Sarah," my mother called. "I'm here," I said. She walked into the room carrying 2 paper bags. "I brought extra bread rolls." She smiled. But when she looked at me, her smile disappeared. "Are you all right?" I swallowed. "Mom, I found something." Her face changed immediately. "Found what?" I slowly pulled the letter from my sweater. "This." For several seconds, she did not move. Then all the color disappeared from her face. "Where did you get that?" "It was inside a book." "Give it to me," she said. "No," I replied. Her voice became sharper. "Sarah, give me the letter." I had never heard her speak to me like that. "No," I repeated, "not until you tell me what it means." She looked terrified, not angry, terrified. "Sarah, you should not have read that." I laughed, but the sound was broken. I should not have read it? I held the letter up. It says my name was changed. My mother said nothing. It says I had another family. Still nothing. Who am I? Her lips trembled. I stepped closer. Tell me the truth. She closed her eyes, and that silence gave me the answer. You knew. She slowly nodded. I stepped backward. How long were you going to keep lying to me? I didn't lie because I wanted to hurt you, she said. Then why? I asked. I wanted to protect you, she said. From what? I asked. She began crying, but I was too hurt to comfort her. You always do this, I said. Every time I ask about the past, you shut me out. Sarah, she started to speak. I'm not a child anymore, I said. She covered her face. You don't understand. Then help me understand, I said. But she still said nothing. I grabbed my coat. Where are you going? She asked. Out, I replied. Please don't leave like this, she said. I turned toward her. Then tell me the truth. She looked at me, and again she said nothing. So I walked out. The cold air hit my face. I kept walking. I passed the bakery, the post office, the little park. Everything looked normal. That was the worst part. The world had not changed. Only mine had. I finally sat on a bench near the bus stop. My hands were shaking. I took out my phone. There was only one person I wanted to call, my best friend, Sophie Miller. She answered immediately. Sarah, what's wrong? That was all it took. I started crying. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in the quiet corner of a small bookstore cafe with Sophie. She listened while I told her everything. She did not interrupt. She did not tell me I was overthinking. She simply listened. When I finished, she looked at the letter. That is a lot to discover in one day. I gave a weak laugh. That is one way to say it. Did your mother deny anything? She asked. No, I replied. That almost makes it worse, she said. I know, I replied. Sophie studied the letter. Do you think the person who wrote this is still alive? I don't even know who wrote it, I replied. She looked at me. If your mother won't tell you, maybe someone else will. I knew she was right. The next morning, we went to see an old woman named Mrs. Rose Walker. She had known my mother for many years. When she opened the door and saw me, her smile disappeared. Sarah, are you all right? I need to ask you something, I said. She let us inside. Her house smelled like peppermint tea and old books. We sat in the living room. I placed the letter on my lap. I need to know something about my mother. Mrs. Walker became very quiet. You know something, I whispered. She looked toward the window. Your mother loves you very much. That isn't what I asked, I said. I know, she replied. Did she take me from another family? I asked. Mrs. Walker looked shocked. After a long silence, she said, There was a fire. My heart stopped. A fire? She nodded. A house fire many years ago. Was I there? I asked. She looked down. Yes. My hands became cold. Was my family there? Mrs. Walker did not answer. I understood. What happened? She sighed. After the fire, your mother brought you home. Was I calling her Mom? I asked. Mrs. Walker looked at me sadly. No. I felt like the room had disappeared. What was I calling her? She hesitated. Then she whispered, I don't remember exactly, but it wasn't Barbara. I stood up. Is there anything else? Mrs. Walker looked nervous. There was a man. What man? I asked. He came looking for you, she said. My heart began beating hard. When? Years ago, not long after the fire, she said. Who was he? I asked. I think his name was Daniel, she replied. My mouth went dry. Daniel? She nodded. He said he was your uncle. I sat down again. My uncle? Yes, she said. What happened? I asked. He came to my house first. He was searching for a little girl. Me? I asked. Yes, she replied. I covered my mouth. What did my mother do? Mrs. Walker looked down. She told him you were gone. The words hurt more than I expected. Gone? I asked, surprised. She told him there was no child left to find, she said. My whole body felt weak. Why? Mrs. Walker looked at me with tears in her eyes. I don't know. Was the man dangerous? I asked. No, she shook her head. He looked heartbroken. That word stayed with me. Heartbroken. Not dangerous, not cruel. Heartbroken. Do you remember what he looked like? I asked. She thought for a moment. Tall, dark hair. There was a small scar near his jaw. She stopped. What? I asked. You look like him, she said. I felt cold. Like me? She nodded. I stood. I need to go home. Sophie followed me outside. Are you sure? No, I said, but I need the truth. That evening, I returned home. My mother was sitting at the kitchen table. She looked exhausted. When she saw me, she stood immediately. Sarah! I closed the door. Don't act like everything is normal. She swallowed. Please sit down. No, I said. Her eyes filled with tears. Then let me explain. I froze. For the first time, she was ready to speak. Explain. She sat down. I sat across from her. She looked at her hands. I always knew this day would come. Then why weren't you ready? I asked. Because I was afraid I would lose you, she replied. You should have thought about that before you lied to me for 23 years, I said. I know, she replied. The room became silent. Then I asked the question that hurt the most. Am I really your daughter? She closed her eyes. Then she whispered, No. I felt as if the floor had disappeared. Not by blood, she added. I looked away. Then who am I? My mother cried. Your name was not always Sarah. What was it? I asked. She took a deep breath. Your name was Sophie Harper. I froze. Sophie. The name felt strangely familiar, not like a memory, more like an echo. You were 4 years old when I first held you. I stared at her. Who was my family? I asked. My mother took another breath. Your birth mother was my younger sister. I could not speak. Your sister? I asked. Yes, she replied. What was her name? I asked. Anna Harper. I felt tears filling my eyes. Tell me about her. My mother looked at the old wooden drawer in the bedroom. Anna was beautiful. She loved music. She laughed loudly. And she loved you more than anything. What happened to her? I asked. My mother looked down. Your father was a dangerous man. I became very still. His name was Thomas Harper. She explained that Thomas had once seemed kind, but after some years he became controlling and angry. Anna tried to leave him several times, but he always found her. Then came the night of the fire. My mother told me that Anna had called her. She had sounded terrified. She kept saying, Take Sophie. Please take my daughter. Don't let him take her. My throat tightened. And then? I asked. She said, I drove there. The house was already burning. Smoke filled the street. People were shouting. Firefighters were trying to reach the house. My mother began crying. Anna came outside holding you. I could almost see the scene. A frightened woman, a little girl, smoke everywhere. She pushed you into my arms. My mother covered her mouth. She said, Take her. Protect her. Promise me. What happened to her? I asked. My mother looked at me. The roof collapsed. I closed my eyes. My birth mother was dead. The woman who had given birth to me had died trying to save me. What about Thomas? I asked. He survived, she replied. My hands tightened. Did he start the fire? The police could never prove everything, my mother said, but there were witnesses. There had been an argument. People smelled gasoline. I felt sick. And Uncle Daniel? Your mother's brother, she said. Why did you tell him I was gone? I asked. My mother started crying. Because Thomas was still looking for you. She explained that she had changed my name and moved away. She wanted to make sure no one could find me. I told people as little as possible. But Daniel found you, I said. Yes, she replied. And you lied to him, I said. Yes, she replied. Why? I asked. Because I was afraid, she said. I looked at her. You were afraid of losing me. She nodded. But you stole my past. I know, she said. You should have told me. I know, she said. You should have trusted me. I know, she said. Tears ran down my face. You should have let me know my real mother. My mother covered her face and cried. For a long time, we sat in silence. Then I asked, Do you have anything from Anna? She looked at me. Photos? Letters? Anything? I asked. Yes, she nodded. She went to the bedroom and returned with a small metal box. The silver key around her neck opened it. Inside were old photographs, letters, a child's bracelet, and a small pink hair ribbon. I picked up the first photograph. A young woman stood in a garden. She was smiling. In her arms was a little girl. Me. I stared at the photograph. That is your mother, Barbara whispered. Anna. I touched the picture with my fingers. I don't remember her. You were only 4, she said. I looked at the photograph again. I wish I did. My mother reached for my hand. This time I let her. She loved you, she whispered. I cried, not because everything was suddenly okay, but because the empty space inside me finally had a name. Anna, my mother, my real past, my lost family. That night, my mother and I stayed awake for hours. She told me stories about Anna. She told me how she used to sing while cooking, how she loved flowers, how she always bought me small yellow dresses, how she used to braid my hair before bed. I listened to every word. Some stories made me smile. Others made me cry. Then my mother gave me an old letter. This was written by Anna, she said. I unfolded it carefully. The handwriting was soft and beautiful. The letter was written shortly before the fire. It was about me. My mother had kept it hidden for 19 years. I read it slowly. Anna had written about how much she loved her daughter. She had written that she wanted me to grow up safely. She had written that if anything happened to her, she wanted someone kind to protect me. My tears fell onto the paper. At the bottom, there was one sentence that I will never forget. She wrote that she wanted me to grow up knowing that I was loved. I held the letter against my chest. For 23 years, I had wondered why I felt that something was missing. Now I understand. It was not that I had been unloved. I had been loved by someone I could not remember. My mother watched me carefully. Sarah, she said. I looked at her. She corrected herself. Sophie. I smiled sadly. Sarah is still my name. She looked surprised. And Sophie is part of me too. Tears filled her eyes. I don't know if I can forgive you yet, I said. She nodded. I understand. But I don't hate you, I said. She started crying. "You raised me," I said. She covered her mouth. "You were there when I was sick. You taught me how to ride a bicycle. You waited for me after school. You stayed awake when I had exams." I paused. "You were my mother." She cried openly now. "And Anna was my mother too." My voice broke. "I don't want to choose between you." My mother reached for me. This time, I did not pull away. She held me tightly. For the first time, our hug felt different. It was not the hug of a mother protecting a secret. It was the hug of two people finally facing the truth together. The next morning, I woke up feeling exhausted, but something inside me had changed. I went through the old photographs again. I studied Anna's face. I looked at the pictures of my grandparents. I looked at a photograph of Uncle Daniel, and suddenly I noticed something. There was a small scar near his jaw, the same scar Mrs. Walker had described. I knew then that I needed to find him, not because I wanted to replace Barbara, not because I wanted to blame anyone. I simply wanted to meet the family I had lost. A few weeks later, I contacted a family records office. They helped me find information about my uncle. His name was Daniel Harper. He was still alive. He lived in another city. My hands shook when I wrote him a letter. I did not know what to say. Finally, I wrote, "My name is Sarah Reynolds, but I was once Sophie Harper. I think you may be my uncle." I explained everything. I told him about the letter, the fire, Barbara, Anna, and the life I had never known. I sent the letter, then I waited. 3 days passed, then 4. On the 5th morning, I received a reply. My hands were shaking as I opened it. The first sentence said, "I have been waiting 20 years to know whether you were alive." I stopped reading. I cried before I even reached the second paragraph. Daniel told me that he had searched for me after the fire. He said he had never believed that I was gone. He had visited Barbara's old home. He had asked neighbors. He had searched through records, but he had never found me. Then he wrote something that surprised me. "I was angry with Barbara for many years, but now I understand that she was afraid. I only wish she had trusted me." I understood that feeling. I felt the same way. Daniel did not blame me. He did not ask me to forget Barbara. He only wanted to meet me. So, 2 months later, I traveled to his city. I was nervous the entire journey. When I finally saw him at the train station, I knew immediately. He had dark hair, he was older than I expected, and there was a small scar near his jaw. He looked at me for several seconds, then his eyes filled with tears. "Sophie?" I could barely speak. "Sarah," I said. Then I smiled. But Sophie was my first name. He laughed through his tears. "I knew it!" We hugged, and in that moment I felt something I had not felt in years. I felt connected. Daniel told me stories about Anna. He remembered how she danced while cleaning the kitchen. He remembered how she used to sing badly and laugh at herself. He told me that Anna had kept a photograph of me in her wallet. I cried again. For the first time, my past did not feel like a locked room. It was finally open. Of course, learning the truth did not make everything easy. There were still painful questions. There were still moments when I was angry with Barbara. Sometimes I looked at her and wondered how she could keep such a huge secret for so long. Sometimes I wished she had told me when I was 10, or 15, or 18. Sometimes I wish I could have known Anna. But I also understood something. People are not always simply good or bad. Sometimes people make decisions because they are afraid. Sometimes they make mistakes while trying to protect someone. And sometimes love can become mixed with fear. Barbara had made a terrible choice. She had hidden my identity. She had hidden my family. She had taken away years that I could never get back. But she had also protected me. She raised me. She loved me. Both things could be true. One evening, several months after I learned the truth, Barbara and I sat together in the kitchen, the same kitchen where I had once found the letter. She poured tea into 2 cups. Then she looked at me. "Are you happy?" I thought about the question. "I think I'm learning how to be." She smiled sadly. "That's enough." I looked at her. "Mom?" She looked up. I smiled. "I mean, Barbara." She laughed softly. Then I said, "I think I am ready to forgive you." Her eyes filled with tears. "You don't have to." "I know," I said. I reached across the table. "But I want to." She took my hand, and for the first time the locked drawer was no longer important. The secret was no longer controlling us. The truth was finally free. Today, I still use the name Sarah. It is the name Barbara gave me. It is the name I grew up with. But I also keep the name Sophie close to my heart. It is the name Anna gave me, the name of the little girl who survived the fire, the name of the daughter who was loved. I now have 2 names. I have 2 families, and I have 2 mothers. One gave me life, the other gave me a life. For many years, I thought the secret had destroyed my family, but now I understand something different. The secret hurt us. The silence hurt us. The lies hurt us. But the truth gave us a chance to heal. And sometimes the truth is painful before it becomes peaceful. Thank you for watching till the end, and don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you never miss a new English story.